interview in some Scandinavian language, because it's crazy here. We're sitting from Scandinavian countries and we don't understand each other's language. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess I must say I'm guilty. Icelandic people have got a bit of an attitude problem towards Scandinavian languages, because we were a Danish colony for many hundred years, so it's a bit sort of, we're too proud to speak.
Yeah. You learn Danish in school, don't you?
Yeah, we do, but everybody gets brilliantly good in talking, being horrible in Danish. It's a bit of a pride thing, really. It's kind of hard to explain. It's in Icelandic vocabulary, to say someone is like evil or wicked, like a bitch or something. You've got he's Danish, and it's just what happens when because we just became independent in 1944, and I mean I was obviously not born then, but it's kind of slowly sort of like takes several generations to forget things like that.
How does it feel to do your debut when you're 27 years and you actually made your first solo album 16 years ago?
Well, I decided to call it debut just to put importance on the fact that this is the first time it's my music. I did a record when I was 11, but it was just one song written by me, and all the arrangements, and well, I picked the song myself and had something to say, but mostly it was produced and arranged by other people, sort of grown-ups, and so I wouldn't really consider that my album, not really, even though I sang on it, because what's kind of always truly been my ambition and kind of where my heart is making music and kind of like sort of sounds and noises and surroundings that I find exciting and interest me, while being a singer is mostly like a bit of a tool to be able to do that. And
but you started out playing the drums, didn't you?
Yeah. And I've arranged lots of things and co-produced and stuff like that, and that's why I kind of call my album debut this one, because it's the first one that you hear my noises and my sounds and my flavours. My mum and 10 of her friends started a bit of a commune when I was about 3, and and they would play music 24 hours. There would always be someone awake who had a record on, and that's kind of where I come from. And
a real hippie life.
Yeah, but I was really lucky, because then there was my grandparents, which I stayed a lot with, because my parents were busy a lot of the time. They listened to jazz, and then I was sent to music school when I was 5, and them trying to convince me for 10 years that modern music wasn't worth anything, and no one was going to outdo Beethoven and stuff like that, and playing all this music that had nothing to do with daily life. It's all based on history, and it was like dead. And so I had like 3 very different point of views, and all 3 different groups thought that the music they were listening to and the lifestyle they were leading was correct, and everything else was incorrect, and which I thought was a bit of a joke. But the best thing when you're a kid is that you're always watching. Everybody thinks you're just really stupid, and they treat you when you're in the room that you're not there really, and talk their grown-up talk. But you're always being a bit of a Richard Attenborough, and kind of like examining the human species and learning from their mistakes, I guess. And I kind of realised that music style sort of doesn't really matter. It's all a question of kind of like attitude and spirit and emotion. But the good thing about Reykjavik is it's got a mentality of a little village, and because we so recently became modern, it's got all the superstitions and the mythology of the Middle Ages. We lived in mud houses till this century, very poor, and still believe in major force of nature, and nature is the most important thing. But at the same time, being very cosmopolitan, being a capital in Europe, having BMWs and mobile telephones, and on top of everything being obsessed by information and literature, and having all the books you want, and having the extremes, like nature and everybody knowing each other, and the intimacy of a village, and the isolation, but still having all, if you want to like cocktail and like, you know, modern lifestyle and television and a car and
modern disco.
Modern discos and drugs and rock and roll, you can have that as well. And then basically I hooked up with, I mean, all the people that were into the same things, obviously, in such a small place. They, at one point, got to meet each other. And when I was 14 or 15, this group of people had kind of started a label in Iceland, indie label. Not putting out indie music though, but basically everything else except Michael Jackson. Jazz, world music, rap, reggae, whatever, anything that's not, you know, commercial pop, classical, whatever, you know. And then later we would start a label that would put out books and films, exhibitions, and we were very early thought of as being trouble, basically, sort of enfant terrible, or whatever you call it, sort of angry teenagers that refuse to grow up. And I don't think we were angry, we were very happy actually, very positive and had a great time. So we're very quickly, all the critics in Iceland would like hate us and call us bad taste. So we basically decided to call our label Bad Taste. Just face the fact that that's what we were, that's what we're going to be then. We were hanging out lots ago and we decided to form a silly band to play at a party, which we would call the Shoe Cubes. It was like the most silly name we could think of, a bit like Monkeys or something. Which is just being a bit sort of opposite the serious band we were in before. Kind of being a bit like get a fresh air and go like la 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 la. Getting a bit sort of pop ABBA, listening to a lot of ABBA records and Boney M, and kind of, yes, that's what it's all about. Fuck this sort of, you know, existentialism and all those isms, and fuck that pretentiousness, like, let's be happy, you know. And of course the most silly thing we've ever done in our lives is the most, ironically, is the thing that's been taken most seriously by media. We started handing out bad taste awards and announcing people, and everybody went really upset in Iceland. Like the head of Icelandic telly was always showing us the pretentious operas that were really horrible, but just because they were us, nobody would criticise it, you know. Bad taste was the most important thing for us. Shoe Cubes wasn't. We saw a way, Shoe Cubes was a way to travel around the world, to meet other people, and get money to put in Bad Taste. So most of the money we earned, we put in Bad Taste to put out more books, more records, the whole thing.
And having fun?
And having fun, obviously. I mean, I don't have to say that when you're with your best friends, traveling around America, getting free air flights, free hotels, free food, free drinks, and all you have to do is pretend you're a rock band. I've written songs since I was 5. And I could have put out an album ages ago that only had my music on. That was not the problem. But the reason why I didn't put my own album out earlier is because it just was against everything I believed in. It was what I consider being very, very selfish, being very sort of narcissist, if you want. And And I just didn't have the need to do it because I wanted to learn, and I wanted to meet all these, have this intimate, over-the-top, obsessive, intimate musical relationships with people. And the more different they were to me, the better. If they were like the opposite of me, that was brilliant. Because that meant I could show them all these things they never heard about, and they could show me all these things I never heard about. And it would just be so exciting. And that's kind of what keeps me alive and what turns me on. I'd be lying if I wouldn't admit that I've realised in a lot of things I'm a bit sort of stupid and slow. And it takes me about, I'm like 10 years later than my fellow girlfriends, and it's kind of like finding out about certain things. And I would basically say that, you know, I'm a bit sort of stupid and a bit sort of slow, you know. And I think it's a lot to do with my inability to take in and learn about things with my brain. I kind of have to do it with my senses. It's kind of all I've got, really. And when you do things like that, it takes ages, you know. And I, for example, there's no way I can't drive a car. I had a car for 1 year, and I think I crashed it sort of twice a month. And it's just too clever for me, you know. It's got no logic. Traffic's just got no logic for me.
Say something, please, about Venus as a boy. Did you have someone in particular in mind? A person like Brett Anderson of Suede, maybe?
Not really. It was actually my friend who I wrote it about. But then again, things aren't that simple, you know. It's not trying to pretend it's really deep or something silly like that, but of course it's about several things. To tell you the truth, I don't understand it any more than you do.
I think it's a very sexy song.
Yeah?
Yes, definitely one of the most sexy on the album.
You should see the video. I'm frying an egg. So very sexy.
Well, we will actually see the video right after this. Would you like to play in India with your new band?
In India?
Yeah.
I love to. I'm not going to be able to do that though, because of financial reasons, I guess. And again, time. No time. I don't really want to play a horrible place like Germany, do you know what I mean? Or Europe in a way, because that's what I know already. I wouldn't mind doing a tour like India, Guatemala, and Thailand. I would be right on that if it would be suggested to me. But unfortunately, we have to be practically and financially aware as well. I mean, it must be too much utopia, you know. And that's why I play Europe and USA.
Yeah.